So you want to know how to make statics, huh? You're in the right place, because in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to pump out 25 banger static ads before lunch, even if you have the design skills of a doorknob like this guy. If you've been sleeping on image ads, now is the time for you to wake up, my friend, because these are some of the absolute most powerful, underrated ads in the game. I love video, big fan of video, but man, do statics have some crazy advantages. Number one is you can make them 100% yourself in a matter of minutes. You don't need an editor, you don't need a designer, you don't need to wait for the founder to film talking head videos, you don't need to wait for bratty LA influencers to film their UGC bullshit, send it back to you, wait 3 hours while they have their matcha latte or TT and Gigi, chase them up 6 times because they're too busy with yoga, and you don't need to wait for an editor to actually edit the videos, and then go through countless rounds of revisions before maybe hopefully in 14 days you can have a video you can launch. No, we don't need any of that. With an image, we can pump out a batch of 25 high quality creatives done in a few hours by yourself, sitting at your laptop in your underwear. Don't know why people do that. You get the point. Image ads bang. Also, a phenomenal way to test angles cheaply. If you want to know if a good hook or claim has legs before you commit to videos, spin up 5 statics, spend $100, let the data answer. Cheap to be wrong and fast to be right. And number 3, this is surprising. They quite often outperform videos. Some of the best performing ads in the entire game are simple images. Case in point, for one of my campaigns, I was running a pricing cheat sheet. I made 25 individual, unique video ads. Took me like several weeks to get these things produced.
So Josh quotes my friend.
Countless variations.
So I was thinking, mate.
Whole bunch of different formats, tons of times to get them edited. And you know which one was the winner out of all of those? That's right, none of them. The winner was literally this. A fucking stock image, some hobo-looking motherfucker holding my cheat sheet in their hands. And that outperformed all the videos. Got me the best quality leads and the lowest cost per lead. And not gonna lie, that wasn't even the best image ad I made. I made a whole bunch of them. And still, that one was the best, that performed the best. Moral of the story, image ads are fucking awesome and you should learn how to do them. But they do have one major downside, and that is they fatigue faster. A static gives away its entire message in one glance. So once someone's seen it, there's nothing really left to pull them back. Whereas a video keeps dangling unwatched payoff that earns it those extra passes before people finally cave and watch it. So if you are going to do image ads, you got to make sure you keep feeding the account fresh statics, keep that frequency nice and healthy under 3. Now, when it comes to static ads, there are 2 different types, indirect and direct, and they play very different roles depending on what awareness level they are targeting. Obviously, you're aware of Mr. Eugene Schwartz's awareness levels spectrum from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware all the way through to most aware. The hotter and more aware your audience is, the more direct your static should be, and the colder and more unaware they are, the more indirect and discreet your ad has to be to generate enough curiosity for them to give a shit. Pretty common sense. Now, broadly speaking, there are 2 types of image ads. We have direct ads. These speak to the 3% of the market who are ready to trot for what you got. They're ready to buy. These are super duper simple. You've seen a billion of them in your life. Most of the time, it's literally just a product shot with a headline, maybe the price. Here's the offer, buy it. They look like ads, they smell like ads, and they link directly to your product page. Typically, these will be your highest ROI ads because they're just targeting people who actually want the thing you sell. And so you just basically scoop up all that low-hanging fruit and life is good. However, again, given only about 3% of the market is actually ready to buy, you're likely going to tap out on the audience fairly quickly, and you're going to have to move at some stage. If you actually want to grow your business and you're planning on scaling your ads to like literally even just a few $1,000s a day, you're going to outgrow that audience pretty quickly, and you're going to need to move to the next type, which is indirect ads. So these speak to the remainder of your total addressable market. The key difference is that these, unlike direct ads, don't look like ads at all. They typically look like content, a news post, a friend status, and they earn the click on pure curiosity. Then the long form copy or an advertorial does the persuading. These are the ones that really scale on cold traffic and make the most money in the long haul. And for this indirect type, the less they look like an ad, the better they tend to perform. Now, I like to categorize indirect ads into 2 different types. They can either blend in or they can stand out. So the blend-in ones, as the name suggests, they pretty much camouflage as native content in the feed. That pretty much just looks like a regular post you'd see on Facebook from a friend or a page. Could be a personal post, an article, a confession, a meme, an ugly ad, selfie, that sort of thing. Just very organic, raw looking, unpolished, intentionally not well produced. The more raw it looks, the better these work. Then we have the second type of indirect ad. That is statics that stand out. So these are still indirect, but they definitely don't look like native content in the feed. They look more like a tabloid headline, news, often have a weird image in a circle, deliberately eye-catching or ugly graphic. Their job is completely different. So their job is to interrupt the scroll with something that the brain literally has to stop and process. You see a lot of these style posts on news pages, Instagram shout out pages. It looks like news, it looks like an article, something like that. Now, with that in mind, there are literally dozens of different types of static formats you could possibly run, with new types being invented every week. But the 5 go-to formats that are the most tried, true, and tested that you will likely be producing the most of are product shots, social proof, infographic, native statics, and my favorite, breaking news / tabloid. Let's go through each one right now. So, product shot, this is obviously a direct type of static, serving the warmer section of your market who is ready to buy. With this, it's pretty straightforward. The product is the hero. There's one big benefit, usually some sort of proof element, which could be like rating, a badge, a guarantee, a clear call to action. It looks like a polished ad, links to a product page. This is the easiest money you'll ever make on warm and buyer-ready audiences. Also a great retargeting workhorse for people that have seen your other ads. There are some examples I pulled from my own feed right here. Next is social proof / testimonial. This is a real feeling customer face or a review card. Could be a named person, a star rating, a quote in their own words. It basically sells through borrowed trust. Nothing new here. It runs in literally every niche because proof is universal. It's basically just you saying, hey, our shit works. Look at what other people are saying about it. This could be a collage of a whole bunch of testimonials, or it could just be one specific person's success story or case study. Or of course, you could lean into the anti-proof angle that you see some of your more edgy brands doing, like Liquid Death, for example, here. This is actually one of their longest running ads. I think it's been running for like 2 years or something. They literally just took a hate comment, screenshotted it, and then used it as a testimonial. The guy literally just roasted, disgusting name, decomposing head on a can, water is not visible. I don't think there's a way to make water seem less appealing. And so rather than hiding from that, they fully leaned into it and they said, hey, people love us on the internet, which I think is brilliant. Which, again, this is going to come down to the brand, but for a brand like this, obviously, they don't shy away from controversy. It's part of why they are as big as they are. If you're going to have a water brand called Liquid Death, you're not the type of brand to lean away from controversy. And if your client's cool with it, I would absolutely lean into those contrarian angles because they can bang super hard when done right. Type number 3, we have educational / infographic. Now, this could be direct or indirect. I typically see it more as indirect. This basically teaches or proves something in the image itself. So it could be a simple diagram, how it works, a stat, a clean comparison, and it earns the click by handing over genuine value upfront, which builds authority and pre-sells the mechanism before they land. So these are the type of ads where there's actually like value in the image itself. The type of thing where you would literally screenshot to like read it later. So something like this, for example, it's basically, here's how I run my entire 7-figure company with these 10 AI tools and the roles they play. This one, here's a bad prompt, here's a better prompt, here's a best prompt. This guy, Ruben, absolute master at educating you in the image itself. And so you want to click to learn more. So anyone who actually gives a shit about using AI to grow their business or be more productive, going to be super interested in this. They're going to see this guy as an authority, and these type of ads can work very well. Moving down the awareness spectrum into very cold, very indirect, we have good old native statics. Now, these come in 101 different forms. Again, I obviously don't have time to go through every single type of ad in this video, or it'd be like 3 hours. These are essentially anything that just looks like regular content and not an ad. So it could be a candid phone photo, a selfie, a notes app screenshot, handwritten text, an editorial article, a meme, a wall of text confession from a 50-year-old, a random like dimly lit, out of focus picture of something that looks like some 60-year-old grandma who like barely knows how to use an iPhone took. That sort of thing. Now, obviously, these ads rely 100% on the copy to do all of the selling because there's literally nothing in the image itself. So these typically pair better with long emotional copy, which could be like a first-person recount from a 48-year-old woman who tried a bunch of solutions or whatever and then came across this supplement. Now, notice whoever made this ad was very clever about not including before and after in the photo because that's very non-compliant. Meta absolutely hates that. Those ads will likely get disapproved and you could potentially have your account shut down. As you can see, just looks very candid. Something your mom might throw on Facebook. That's what we're going for. And then we have my absolute favorite type of ad of all time. That is going to be breaking news / tabloid. Now, arguably, you could say native statics are the most indirect type. Doesn't really matter. This isn't a dick measuring contest. They're both quite indirect. These ones just blend into the feed and these ones stand out. That's the only difference. But none of them really scream ad because these ones just look more like an article. So this format here is the format that literally every big Facebook page runs. It's a slightly odd or very attention gathering primary image, usually some sort of smaller circled or arrow inset image. Like you can see there, the other image there in the square. It has a bold news style headline, typically says news or breaking news. And especially when you have those 2 images in there, it really stops the scroll because your brain's trying to process both images at once and essentially trying to work out how they piece together. Even this one here, which you might say seems pretty obviously like an ad, it still just raises so much curiosity. It's like, who is this guy? Simply put, I don't know about you, when I look at this image, I literally think murderer. I think 52-year-old mass murderer, mowed down a school with a tractor. He's in the news, it's headlines. I got to see what's happening. No, it's literally just a school group that teaches YouTube. But they got your attention. Now here's some more examples from my own page here. We ran Instagram shoutouts for a very long time, very successfully. I made probably about $3 million from Instagram shoutouts alone. These type of ads absolutely rip, simply put. There's a reason why every Instagram shoutout page like that uses the same exact style. Picture of me, it's a picture of Reddit in the circle. It's his new style. Sabri Zubi is an absolute master of these type of ads. If you look at his ad library, you'll see he's a big fan. And willing to bet that dude has made several millions of dollars from these types of ads. But you got to do them right. So the stop the scroll test for these tabloid style ads is number one, the image. Super important. There needs to be some sort of pattern interrupt in the image, something weird or unexpected that physically stops the thumb. And then often you're going to have a secondary image in a circle with an arrow. Perfect example here. Looks like it's holding some sort of magic USB. There's an arrow to it. Then the headline, this client getting hacked feels illegal. And you're like, oh, he's got this magic client getting hacked on his USB. I want to see what that's about. Even the micro copy under that, watch carefully and then click. It's like, whoa, is this some like ancient secret or something? Do I have to close my door before I watch this? And then we have burning intrigue in the headline. It's an open loop that the brain has to close. So like Sabri's example there. This one here, Google just killed ChatGPT and it's about to eat 2 times more jobs than ChatGPT. Anyone who's interested in AI obviously is like, oh, what did Google just do? Why is ChatGPT dead? Now, granted, this was like a year ago before ChatGPT was kind of already dead, but you get the idea. The second one here that my team made, Reddit guy asked which business you can start with $0. Definitely not a crazy headline, but the subcopy, the replies are brutal. That's where you want to go, oh, what did they say? What's the tea? I want to read the comments, right? So just builds a lot of curiosity. And also you can't forget this element, super important. It needs to have some sort of targeted big benefit or an implied benefit, which is specific and aimed squarely at your market. So the algorithm knows who to find. Big mistake I see a lot of people making with these types of ads is they just go ham on the breaking news angle. They get a fuckload of clicks and then no one buys anything because they're just pure curiosity, not target market at all. So again, obviously it has to be relevant to your target market and bring in the right types of people that you want. So this headline here, this has created 58 millionaires. If that's what Sabri's business does with his King Kong agency, then yeah, that's relevant. I want to know what's created 58 millionaires so I can be the 59th. Same idea with this one here. So again, big disclaimer, pure intrigue with no benefit pulls everyone and qualifies no one. And if you have pure benefit with no intrigue, that's what gets ignored. So you want the intersection of those two. Essentially clickbait without being clickbait. I know clickbait gets a bad rap, but if you think about it, the literal job of an ad is to bait someone into clicking. As long as the page they land on is congruent with the ad, then job done, no problem at all. It's only clickbait when the landing page doesn't match, and that ad's not going to work anyway. Now, typically at this point, people think, oh, really? These types of ads, they feel very sleazy. They feel very like, oh, drama, gossip. Like, I'm so above that. Ugh, my clients would never respond to that. They're not the type of people who sit around watching reality TV who would give a shit about this type of ad. Unfortunately, I have to stop you there because you, my friend, are not going to undo thousands of years of human psychology. I don't care if it's an 18-year-old fry cook or a multi-billion-dollar CEO. People crave news and drama. These dopamine-style ads work. People crave news, they crave drama. Human psychology is human psychology. Even billionaires get FOMO. And the people have voted with their eyeballs. So don't fight it. Lean into it. And if you're wondering where you can get ideas for these types of ads, man, wouldn't it be cool if Meta curated this data and handed it to you on a silver platter? Oh, wait, it's almost like they publish a quarterly report called Widely Viewed Content Report, what people see on Facebook. Huh, isn't that interesting? And they literally tell you exactly, here's the exact types of content that people are consuming. Content from groups, their friends, pages, reshares. Here's all the top links in the last quarter. Here's all the top websites in the last quarter. And here are the top 20 pages that people engage with the most for the last quarter. New York Post, Fox News, ABC, People, ABC News, TMZ, Unilad, CBS News. What do these pages all have in common? If you said the word news, you'd be correct. This is what people are looking at on the platform. It's what they have literally voted for with their eyeballs. So you can either fight it, complain about it, or just swim with the tide, make ads that look like the shit they're already liking, commenting, and interacting with, and then just use it to make millions of dollars instead of complaining. I think it's a better mental frame. So if you need inspiration for these tabloid style ads, you can literally just go to any of these top pages here that Facebook has literally just given you on a silver platter saying these are the top performing pages. Like go and fucking look at their content and model it. That's literally what it's saying. Model these pages, the news, and all those big Instagram shout out pages as well. Millionaire Mentor, Secrets to Success, all that sort of stuff. And by the way, if you want more hilarious proof that this breaking news format rips harder than literally anything else, get a load of this shit. A couple years ago, I was still with my girlfriend. We had a trip to Bali for a friend's wedding. And long story short, we went to get on the plane and Virgin denied her boarding. She had literally the tiniest fucking little coffee stain I've ever seen on the passport. Didn't even notice it. We've been to like 20 countries with this passport. And they're like, no, you can't fly. Bali won't let you in. We were like, what do you mean we can't fly? So they didn't let us board. So we booked a new flight with a different airline and then flew in no problem the next day. And so I wrote a post about how retarded that was, given the other airline was happy to let us fly and we had no problems getting into Bali. And somehow that Facebook post went absolutely bonkers, went super viral. It got over 1,000 comments from just random strangers. Obviously, some people at some news publications picked up on that. We're out on a boat and someone sends me an article. I think it was this one here from Unilad. Literally within hours, publication after publication, The Sun, The Herald, New York Post, Yahoo News, Unilad, Lad Bible, I shit you not, 20 major publications had all written an article about this fucking passport incident. Hilarious. Obviously a slow news day. But obviously they are a media machine. Their job is to get clicks and attention. And they clearly know what gets attention. They all seem to use the same photo they pulled from Instagram for some reason. It's almost like hot women get attention or something. I can't work it out. Anyways, point I'm trying to make, look at the image format they've all used. Picture of the thing, secondary picture in a little circle. That woman there in the square is literally a completely different woman, which is hilarious. That's not even my girlfriend in a little box. But hey, hot blonde in a bikini, I guess. I guess they're all the same. The Sun, sexist ass motherfuckers. Anyways, damn, your boy was shredded when this photo was taken. Sheesh. Breaking news format absolutely rips. Use it. With that said, we got to talk about the funnel. Where does someone go after they click your ad? As we established, if it's a direct product shot or a testimonial, very likely you'll just link them directly to the product page, as anyone clicking that is clearly interested in buying. So don't get in their way, send them literally directly to checkout where they can buy your thing. However, for all those indirect ads I mentioned before, we have to warm them up a little bit because it's fairly unlikely that someone seeing a random article like this or a random fucking picture of a pill bottle is going to be interested in like immediately buying your thing from a Facebook post, some grandma ranting or whatever, right? In this case, we are going to want to use an advertorial. If you don't know what an advertorial is, well, you should probably learn that if you're going to be a creative strategist. It's these types of posts. I'm sure you would have seen tons of them before. So these are your classic 57-year-old from Norway reveals why she has zero belly fat type articles. You've seen thousands of these before, I promise. So this advertorial is going to educate and warm them, and that page then links to the product. So here's one example from a spec client that I'm currently working with as a demo for the next 4 weeks. Going to be making a whole bunch of ads for them. They're a beauty brand, specifically they make a pillow for women. I won't say what the brand is out of privacy, but they're doing pretty well. Obviously, they know what they're doing when it comes to creative strategy. They're running advertorials. They're running statics directly to this advertorial page. So anyone who's come in from one of those native statics who's a little curious, this is now saying, hey, here's 5 reasons why women over 35 are calling this anti-wrinkle pillow their anti-aging secret. So obviously this is quite a product-based advertorial, and people at this point probably know they're about to get sold something, but they're still curious. And so they read to learn why. And so this is going to warm them up, educate them, and then send them to the product page. Same thing with this one. This is my boy Sam's client. They basically sell grounding mattresses. Very similar style. It's a listicle, just like this one here. 8 reasons why everyone's replacing their old bedding with this grounding mattress cover. Okay, so a listicle is only one type of advertorial, but you get the idea. This warms them up, educates them, and gets them hot to trot for what you got. With that said, let's talk about how to actually make these bad boys. So this is your winning statics workflow. There are 2 ways to make a static ad. Number 1 is you can swipe a proven winner and you can reskin it for your brand, or you can build it from scratch. Generally, swipes win more because you're writing someone else's data that they've already spent thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars testing. But if your only strategy is swiping, then there is a ceiling there because you can only be as good as the person you're swiping from. And so you do want to throw in a healthy mix of original concepts too. If you get a couple bangers, those can typically scale further than the swiped ones because they're unique, they're different, people likely haven't seen them before. So when in doubt, you just use the 80-20 concept. 80% of your tests are iterations of proven winners and swipes, and 20% are fresh concepts. So let's talk about the stack. I personally like to use Claude for everything. I think it's the highest quality LLM out there at the moment. So I use it for ideation and prompting. And from there, it doesn't really do image generation very well. So from there, we're going to throw it into Nano Banana via Higgsfield to generate the actual images. You can use ChatGPT image generation too. I would say right now that it's pretty much on par with Nano Banana, but this is just a workflow that works for me. So this is the brief. Now, if you're in CMB and you ran your 6C Intel report from week 1, then you already have all the generators you need. You got your avatar, you got the voice of customer language, you got the offer, the angles. You're going to drop those docs straight into Claude and skip this part. I cannot overemphasize the importance of research. No amount of fancy AI generation, graphics, videos, hooks is going to overcome you skipping the research process. At the end of the day, no matter what format you shove in front of someone, the number one thing that matters the most is the messaging. It's the right message to the right person at the right time. That is what fundamentally all advertising and offers and business comes down to. If you skip the research process and you do not know the bullseye target of your market and what they truly want in their heart of hearts, your ads are going to miss the mark. Super important you spend the time here in this process, and you'll see if you do the research phase properly, your ads will write themselves. You will have all the necessary angles and hooks and everything sitting right there in your Intel report that you can just pull out and you can use it. It's why it's the first week, the first thing we cover inside of CMB in the Creative Strategist Breakthrough. As good old Abe Lincoln says, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. I'm gonna spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. By sharpening my axe, I of course mean research. If you're starting cold from a brand you've never worked with before and you have no idea about this niche, or maybe it's a spec brand, maybe you're trying to make some ads to get your foot in the door, it's a new industry and you don't want to do the full deep dive 2-day research process just to make 3 basic statics, totally understandable. So in that case, you can just run this quick brief prompt and that should get you just enough information about their business to then hand off to Claude and have it remake someone's swipe in your style. So you basically just say, act as my expert brief builder. I'll paste raw materials on an offer, landing page, URL, notes, transcript, pull all the facts into a brief, let me know who it's for, their awareness level, the pull, what they're really after, what we sell, the promise, what makes it different, why they'd believe it, the numbers and the next step, and the look and the feel. Gives you back a list. That's a brief, good enough to go. So from there, we have 2 parts. Like I said, path A is to swipe a proven winner. This is going to be 80% of the concepts that you generate. And this is exactly how to do that. So step 1, you're going to find winners in foreplay. Foreplay is, I'm yet to be able to say that name without laughing. I'll get there one day. Seriously, guys. Your naming conventions are very impressive. Anyways, this is pretty much the industry standard ad spy tool. It's what we use in CMB. The basic plan is around $59 a month. You can get a 7-day free trial. Although once you have a client, they'll be paying for this for you anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Set your filtering settings to image format, still live, running for at least 30 days, English, Facebook and Instagram, and then you're going to sort by longest running. Reason being, if an ad has been running for months or years, it's very likely profitable. Unlike Meta Ad Library, Foreplay currently doesn't give you the option to sort by impressions, and so longest runtime is the closest thing to a "this works" stamp that you'll get. Or if you're born on a budget, you can of course use alternative tools like Get Hooked or the good old free Meta Ad Library or TikTok Ad Library. From there, step 2 is going to be to reverse engineering in Claude. So you're going to front load all your brand docs or the brief above, paste the winning ad that you found that you want to model in there, and then run this prompt here. So this is my swipe teardown plus rebuild prompt. It's essentially going to reverse engineer the image, analyze why it worked, tell you how you can rebuild it for your product, and then give you an actual image generation prompt that you can put into Higgsfield that will generate essentially a version of that image, but for your particular product with your product image, your copy, and so on. So that's path A. Path B is the build it from scratch, which will be roughly 20% of the new ads that you might test. So from this, we're going to run the from scratch concept engine, where you basically just say, act as my expert static ad concept engine, reference all the brand docs, and then give me 25 or whatever number you want to choose, fresh static ad concepts for this offer, make them genuinely different, vary the angle, the emotion, the awareness level, who you're speaking to, and then give me the format, the hook, and the prompt. It's just going to spit out a whole bunch of ideas for you. And then just for reference, I've given it a format reference guide, which is essentially just a summary of this training here so far, talking about what are, in my opinion, the 5 major different types of format of static ads. So product shot, social proof, infographic, native static, and tabloid style. Then step 3, we are going to generate it in Higgsfield. So you're going to open Higgsfield, you're going to select the Nano Banana Pro, paste Claude's output in there, set the canvas to 4x5 portrait. You can do 1x1. I feel like that's a little bit outdated nowadays. Instagram and all the social platforms are pushing very heavily towards vertical content. Obviously, as like 80% of internet traffic is mobile. Even the Instagram feed is no longer squares anymore. It's all portrait like TikTok. Just like they stole TikTok's algorithms, so they may as well steal their whole fucking feed format while they're at it. Stealing Snapchat stories. And so, hey, if you feel bad about swiping, Meta is literally the swiping king. They love swiping people and then putting them out of business. So don't feel ashamed about swiping competitors' ads. You're going to set it to 2K quality, and then I like to do 4 generations at a time rather than sit there and do one at a time. It just takes forever. Now, as an alternative, you can use the newer version of Nano Banana, which is called Nano Banana 2, instead of Pro, if budget is tight, or you just need a really high volume of ads generated quickly. It is about 2 to 3 times faster. They claim it's about 90% of the quality. Honestly, I tested this pretty heavily, and I found that Pro does produce noticeably higher quality outputs in my experience. And the way I see it is like, if this is an ad that you may potentially be pushing thousands of dollars of ad spend into, to me, it just makes no fucking sense at all to save like 10 cents on a generation. There's a time and place to nickel and dime a few cents, and I just don't think it's here. Or anywhere, just focus on making more money. How about instead of focusing on saving 10 cents per generation, you just, I don't know, make high quality ads, make a fuckload of money, and then you won't be worried about 10 cents. Unpopular opinion, apparently. Anyway, for product shots, you're going to upload a clean PNG of the product so it drops your real product into the scene. Typically, I like to strip out the background. There's a gazillion free tools online. I've tested a bunch. I personally recommend Adobe Express Background Remover. It's free. It's super high quality. It's what pro designers use. Just use it. Now, I have publicly roasted Higgsfield before as being a total ripoff for video. So why I'm actually recommending Higgsfield over the plain Gemini plan to do these batch generations is simply put because you can do batch generations without a watermark and you can have all the models in one place so you can quickly change. The workflow is just way faster. There's a slight markup over using Gemini directly, but honestly, image ads are so cheap to generate, it doesn't really matter. By far, the more important element is speed. It's speed and just staying in that creative workflow, not sitting there waiting a minute, 2 minutes per picture. You can pump out dozens of fire concepts in 20 minutes. And if a generation is kind of glitchy or whatever, you need to regenerate it. You can just drop the image back and just say, fix the text, fix this, fix that. And it'll typically get it right the first time. I will tell you though, if it doesn't get a regeneration right the first time, it's pretty much never going to get it right. You could tell it 10 times to do the same thing and it just won't do it for some reason. Rather than beating your head against the wall, just bite the bullet, regenerate it again from scratch. Thank me later. But I do want to stress, I would only use Higgsfield for generating images. It is a total ripoff of videos. Even on the basic plan, you get like 4 videos a month or something. Videos use so many credits. So for AI video ads, I personally like to use Fowl.ai. If you want to generate video ads with VO3, Sora 2, Cdance, that sort of thing, you pay the raw API costs per generation instead of an egregious 3 to 4x markup that Higgsfield and all these other all-in-one AI platforms charge. There you go, your boy's looking out for your wallet. So, final step before we launch, obviously, quality control. Don't just take AI's output, raw dog it straight into the ads manager, unless you're a true chat advertiser, okay? You want to double check, make sure the text is legible, it's spelled correctly. AI obviously still fumbles text occasionally. Make sure it's on brand, the product looks right. Your founders obviously care quite a lot about their brand representation. If you make the product look fucking whack in the image, CEO is probably not going to be very happy with that, okay? And before and after images, we talked about those before. Just make sure the whole thing's compliant. Make sure you brush up on your compliance. Meta literally has a free compliance course. They want you to be a compliant advertiser. They don't try and hide these policies. They're pretty cut and dry. So spend like an hour going through that if you're going to be an advertiser as your fucking career, okay? Make sure that your ads don't get your client's account banned or you're going to have a very upset client and they're not going to be a client for very long, okay? Now, this is all well and good, but I think it's time I shut up and we actually make some ads here together. I'm going to give you 2 quick demos of how this is actually done end to end so you can see how super easy this is once you get the workflow down. So demo 1 is we're going to do one from scratch, following the breaking news format. Now, rather than make a new one from scratch, I figured I'd just show you how I made the hero image for this very document, potentially even the thumbnail you clicked on to watch this video. So this is the exact process I threw into Claude to make the hero image at the top of this training. I didn't even use any of these prompts. That's how easy this shit is. Now, bear in mind, my Claude is already trained on everything here in this document, so that's why I don't have to do all of these prompts. I can just hold command, talk to Claude using Whisperflow like a fucking caveman, and then it just spits out ads. It's great. Welcome to the 22nd century. Now, because your Claude isn't as cool as my Claude, that's why Big Daddy Sean had to get you all these prompts, okay? But eventually, your Claude's going to be cool like mine. And then you probably won't even have to use the prompts. You can just retard max it like me. So this is literally word for word what I said to Claude. I said, hey, make me a Nano Banana prompt for a static ad about a training teaching static ads. Give me some concepts first, and then we'll choose one. It's going to be the hero image of this document. So Claude gave me 5 suggestions. The first one was the meta tabloid, which is built in the exact breaking news article that the training teaches, pointing at the training itself, which I thought would be a clever idea. Image of a copywriter at a laptop with a fan of 25 ad thumbnails exploding out of the screen, a clock, a bold news bar, marketer pumps out 25 ads. I said, cool, sounds great, let's do that. Change the headline to this. And then I literally took out my phone, took a shocked selfie like this. I just took a whole bunch, took like 10, chose the one that looked the best, threw it into Claude. I said, here's a selfie I took, write me the prompt and make sure my face stays identical and not recreated with AI. Uploaded this picture, and then it spat me out this giant prompt. I threw it into Nano Banana in Higgsfield, just like that, pasted the giant prompt that Claude gave me back, set this to 16:9 because it's a thumbnail, so I want it wide. Quality to 2K. Honestly, that's a higher quality than 1080p anyway, and so that's more than good enough for images. And then just set it to 4 and let it run. So you can see the 4 here are the first 4 that it came up with. The top ones here was where I tried testing Nano Banana 2 instead of Nano Banana Pro. In my opinion, they're just not as good. They're not as strong, not as compelling, not as eye-catching. There's like a weird split screen thing going on. You can see how like this, it just doesn't quite bang as hard as something like this. You know what I mean? This or this. Why I personally like to use Pro better. And in fact, looking at this, it's not even cheaper either. It's actually the same amount of credits. So yeah, fucking absolutely just use Pro. There's a prompt. It's literally just the breaking news tabloid format doing the work. My shocked face, the exploding wall of ads, the red circle clock, the news headline bar, 1 selfie, 1 prompt, scroll stopping hero done in under 5 minutes. Now, if I wanted to make a traditional ad style, that's portrait instead of landscape. Very simple. I would literally just come into here, change the aspect ratio to 4:5, change it here as well. Generate. Literally, it is that simple. We're going to sit here for like 30 seconds and see what it cooks. Okay, so here we go. We got the ads back. Honestly, these are pretty fucking sweet. I would absolutely use one of these as an ad. I personally think this one is probably the strongest with the whole arrangement, with how eye-catching it is, with how closely it kept my face intact. But honestly, any of these would work. Very impressive. I've been doing this shit for months and it still blows my mind how fucking cool this is that we can just press buttons and like have any image or video created that we can think of. Fucking insane. Our ancestors would kill for this shit. Are you kidding me? That literally took me like 2 minutes. Do you believe me now that we can pump out 25 of these before lunch? So that was how to generate an image completely from scratch using the context builder. Now I want to show you how to do the swipe. We're going to make a product shot here together. And for a bit of fun, let's pretend I am the head of creative for Rolex. Rolex, if you happen to see this video, I am available for hire, but only for you. So first things first, we're going to go into foreplay. We're going to sort by longest running, grab a proven product shot. Winner. I like this one here from Aura. You can, of course, find these in your feed. You can find them on Google Images. You can find them in the Meta ad library. I prefer to use foreplay because of these filtering settings. So format, set to image, platform, Instagram, Facebook, language, English, niche, jewelry, and watches. We would essentially just scroll through until you see one that really catches your eye that you like the look of. I also set it to longest running and still running as well. That means it's still live on the platform, still spending, which means they're working right now, not last year. I wonder why this ad worked. All right, you get the idea. We basically come through and we find one we like. That's a solid product shot in this case. I think this one's cool. So I already have one, but just for demonstration's sake. Okay, it's been running for 482 days. Clearly, it must be working. So literally all you do is you just hit download it to your downloads folder. Step one. Then, because I don't work for Rolex yet, we're going to run the brief builder to gather some intel about what we're selling. Now, if this was a proper long-term client, I would run the full 60 intel engine from CMB and conduct the full proper 48-hour research sprint, because this will be a client that you'll be making hundreds of ads for, who's paying you like 10K a month. But just for quick spec projects, like I said, the down and dirty version is we just use the brief builder. And so we are going to scroll back up here. I'm going to open up a fresh Claude. Okay, so you know I'm not cheating. Copy this into it. I would ordinarily post in transcripts of ads or the landing page. I would normally use a tool like GoFullPage to capture the full landing page here. So I go to rolex.com and screen capture the whole page, get a whole bunch of different assets together that I can give it to essentially say, hey, learn what you can about this brand. But because I am in a mood to do this with the least amount of time humanly possible for the sake of this demo, we're just going to copy the homepage in. And Rolex just so happens to be a brand where there's probably not a shortage of information out there online about it. We are going to go find a particular model of Rolex that I absolutely love. Good old Datejust 41. Loved it so much, I bought it for myself, then I bought it for my dad. And I'm literally just going to paste the link right in the chat, right under the quick brief prompt. And we're going to let Claude do its thing. It's going to build me a brief. While we do that, we are going to go find a sick pic of a Rolly and remove the background. Would you look at that? Here's one I prepared earlier. Found this in Google Images. Looks banging. We're going to save it. I'm going to hit up good old Adobe Express background remover. Now it's a WebP, so I just got to quickly open it. File, export, save it as a JPEG, throw the JPEG in there. Bada bing, bada boom, background is removed. It does have a bit of an ugly green tinge on it, so if I was doing this properly, I'd probably choose a different image, but it'll do for now. Download it. There she is in my downloads folder. Amazing. Back to Claude. Claude's built our quick brief here. Then we're going to run the swipe teardown prompt. So going to scroll up here, copy that in, same chat, upload the image. And of course, I need to give it my reference brand. There we go. There's a beautiful picture of Aura that I want to swipe. Whisperflow, just to be explicitly clear, the ad I'm looking to swipe is the image of Aura. And I want to recreate that for Rolex with this reference image here. There we go. Whack that in. Let Claude cook. Claude is going to tell me why it works, and then it's going to hand me back a finished generation prompt that we are going to throw into Nano Banana. Now, I personally like to use Opus because I'm on the max plan. I don't really give a fuck about credits. As for the best quality outputs, but if you're balling on a budget, you only got that pro plan, honestly, you can just use Sonnet. You'll be more than fine. Okay, so Claude's go back to me. This is why it works. Amazing. iPath, the hook, the promise underneath, the action, awareness level, the emotional button, why it suits Rolex even better than Aura. Ooh. Here's how to rebuild it. And then here's what we actually care about. Obviously, if I was doing this for real, I'd actually read all of this, but ain't nobody got time for that. So we're just going to copy the prompt. It's giving us the headline. It's giving us everything. Made to keep time for a lifetime of moments. Damn, dude. I might be getting a job at Rolex sooner than I thought. That was fucking banging. The one watch for every chapter you'll write. I like the first one better. Anyway, let's bang this in and see what it comes up with. So we are going to paste it in. All we got to do, throw in our beautiful background removed Rolly, change this to Nano Banana Pro, 4x5, 2K. Even though the original reference was 9x16, super vertical, and we only want it mid vertical, terminology on point, it's going to be more than fine. Let's hit generate and see if I can land myself a job at Rolex. We're going to get 4 very solid variations in about 60 seconds. Let's check it on our ads. Damn, bro. Mate, that is clean. Rolex, I'm coming for you, dog. Anyway, if this is a real ad, I probably obviously wouldn't have the 3 little tags, everyday milestones, heirloom, but I did explicitly tell it to copy the Aura ad. So as a 2-minute down and dirty demo, I would say that's a pretty damn good output. Only thing I'm not loving here is the headline. So I just think the headline's kind of mid. This is where you got to apply your own actual copywriting brain. As I said before, I much prefer the second headline variation that Claude gave us. And so I want to keep this image because I like it. I don't have to regenerate it. What we can do very simply is we just click it. We go to in paint, select the headline, and we literally just tell it, change the headline to made to keep time for lifetime moments. I think that is way better. So we'll generate that. Sometimes you have to tell it explicitly, leave the rest of the image the same, but because of this in-paint thing, it's only going to look at what we actually highlighted, and so we shouldn't have that problem. So we go, it's going to regenerate, and we'll see what we get. But I just want to notice and pay attention and really appreciate the fact that, remember that green tinge that the PNG had before because it was taken outside? The sunlight was reflecting the grass onto the watch. We can see that Nano Banana has beautifully, completely removed all of that green tinge, and it's restored the watch to just look absolutely perfect during the image. Boom, as you can see, there we go. It's regenerated the image, it's kept everything else exactly the same, and bam, we have the new and updated headline. That's fucking sweet. That's so cool we can do that. Let's say I change my mind about modeling the Aura design and I no longer want these 3 little inserts there. Remove these 3 overlays and keep the rest of the image identical. Fill in the rest of the image and the picture of the watch to look clean and perfect as per the reference image. So there we go, we could try that. We could just say, I don't want that in there anymore, and I just want the watch. There we go, we'll generate that, see what it comes up with. Typically, you don't want to do this too many times, as the more times it generates the image from scratch, the worse the quality gets. You do 10 plus iterations, it just degrades into a grainy, AI-looking green screen piece of shit. All right, as we can see, it has absolutely fucking nailed that. We completely removed the 3 little inserts, and the watch looks absolutely perfect. We can zoom all the way in. Headline's perfect, all the text is the same, and the watch is recreated exactly as per the original. It's filled in the gaps beautifully. I mean, come on, that's fucking cool. So let's say we want to run with this as a final image. We could just download it there. Or if we want it nice and big and sexy, we want to put it on a fucking billboard in Times Square. We can upscale it, set it to 2x, and there we go. We'll have an extremely high quality ad that would honestly be good enough for print quality, full page magazine cover. I do want to say, to be fair, Nano Banana Pro is super fucking slow. And so if you just want to test a whole bunch of ideas really quickly, you don't really care about using them as the final ads. You just want to like see if the concept even looks good. In that situation, I would use Nano Banana 2, even though the credit cost is actually the same. It is like 2 to 3 times faster. And so it's a great way to just test a whole bunch real quick. And then once you decide a concept that actually works, then you can go, okay, now I want to turn that into an ad. Then you can switch to Pro and get generally a higher quality output. That's my personal workflow I like to use. But obviously, if what Nano Banana 2 spits out is good enough to use as the ad, no point regenerating it, just go ahead and use that. And there we go, our final high quality Rolex ad in all its 4K glory. Download that, send it to Rolex, send it my resume. Rolex, I'll be expecting a callback real soon. There we go. Oh, look at that image quality. Damn, that's making me want to buy a 3rd Rolex. Seriously, your head of creative is not safe. I'm coming for this man's job with everything I got. Super good. Again, that took us like all of 5 minutes. We now have a legitimate pro quality ad. This is something that would have a full-time professional graphic designer to produce an ad that looks like this. It would probably take him many hours, days of briefing, revisions, this and that. I made the entire thing in under 5 minutes with 0 design skills for like literally $1 worth of credits. This is the new age of advertising, my friends. Fuck yeah, how good. That watch really does look good in the silver. Man, that dial in the silver, that has got me seriously contemplating getting a 3rd one. Love it. Job done, Rolex hires me. That part is still to be confirmed. I'll make a follow-up video when that happens. So from here, this is your 5 ad sprint. Do this today so you actually learn something instead of just letting this be one of many videos you watched and then do nothing with. Because we're here to actually build your skills, not just teach you interesting conceptual shit, okay? Here's what I want you to do today, right now, after watching this. You are gonna pick 5 hooks from your hook bank, or your best video scripts, or go swipe a competitor on 4Play or Meta Ads Library. I don't care, get some hooks from somewhere. From there, you're gonna start your 4Play free trial. You're gonna build a swipe board of 10 to 20 long-running winners in your niche or your client's niche. Drop your brand docs into Claude. Run the swipe down prompts on those 3 to 5 winners. By the way, pro move, you don't just have to swipe competitors' ads, you can swipe your own ads too. So download your own winners and then run the prompts on your own winners and analyze why your own winners are winning. Pretty smart idea. From there, you're going to generate one of each format. So that's 5 ads, 1 product shot, 1 social proof, 1 native, 1 breaking news, 1 infographic. 4 variations per prompt, and pick the best one. Give yourself maximum 60 minutes for this entire exercise, okay? The goal here is not to be perfect. The goal here is to move quickly, get a feel for the process. Your ads are not allowed to be perfect. I do not want you spending more than 10 minutes on each type, okay? Speed is the name of the game. Download the images, label them. Cold traffic gets the 3 indirect formats, which are infographic, breaking news, and native. And then warm is going to get the product shots and the testimonials. Optional, but super boss. For every native static, draft a matching advertorial angle so you have somewhere to actually send the click. Just 1 sentence outlining what the advertorial would cover. Challenge yourself to write the actual headline as well. And then step 8, most important, join CMB if you're not in there already. Speedrun your way to 10K a month in 10 weeks with our expert coaching team helping you every step of the way. There's a link for you to apply. And if you have any doubts whatsoever that our shit works, do me a favor, let me know how long it takes you to scroll to the bottom of this proof page here. I'll wait. Still waiting. I'll see you at the bottom. Yeah, I think my Rolex ran out of power. Time to put the kettle on. I might go get a coffee. Just when you think you're reaching the bottom, huh? No, we're still going. I'll see you next week. Believe it or not, this page does actually have a bottom. I found it once. Took me 2 weeks. Oh, there we go. Let me know in the comments how long it took you to reach the bottom. Whoever reaches the bottom the fastest, I'm going to give you this entire doc for free. You're welcome. Real talk, if you want the doc and all the prompts from this training, I've put them right here in our brand new school group. It's called the Creative Strategists Collective. We literally just launched it yesterday. We've got 214 members already. It is a free group, but I don't want this to turn into another 10,000 person group Facebook shit show. Long story short, I used to run one of the biggest copywriting groups on Facebook. I had a group of over 10,000 copywriters. It was great. And then it died the same death that every other Facebook group dies and became a spam graveyard with 0 reach. So I'm rebuilding it from scratch, but this time, I'm curating who we let in. I only want people who are in the game, active copywriters, active creative strategists who are doing this as a career. No biz-op gremlins, no freebie seekers, tire kickers, people who are just out here trying to hoard free resources that they're realistically not going to ever do anything with. So I'm rejecting about 75% of requests to keep the quality high. Once you're inside, just go to Classroom, go to Creative Strategist Collective. You see a bunch of free creative strategist trainings right here. I'll be adding more to this group. I'll even potentially be doing monthly Q&As when I get the chance. No promises. So you get a bunch of free trainings, a bunch of kick-ass members you can talk to and connect with and learn from. You got the whole classroom here full of a bunch of banger trainings. And then of course, right here, the winning static ads playbook. You're going to find this full training plus the doc with all the prompts. And I plan on adding a lot more to this group and a lot of things that I am intentionally keeping private and not sharing to YouTube. So if you want the goods, you got to be in this group. Apply to join. It's free. I'd love to have you in there with us if you're a fit. Now, if you're not a fit and you do get rejected, don't worry. There is a second way you can get this doc. Like I said, if you're the fastest person to scroll to the bottom of our application page here, scroll means actually scroll. Okay, you're not allowed to grab this bar and just whack it down to the bottom. That's cheating. Comment your time below. I'm gonna pick one person in the first 7 days. They'll get the doc with all the prompts. Everyone else, you gotta be in the group. Cool? Amazing. You're welcome. If you're serious about this, you gotta join us in CMB, the Creative Strategist Breakthrough. That's where all the real sauce is, okay? Not to mention, we have a promo going on right now where we actually guarantee you'll make at least $5,000 in new creative strategy income in the first 10 weeks, or me and my entire coaching team of A-listers who've generated over $200 million with their ads and funnels and copy will work with you at no additional cost until you do. So you are literally guaranteed a positive ROI on the program. I don't know anyone else is offering that in our space. We only take on a limited amount of people per month so we can make sure every member actually gets quality coaching and results. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you apply as soon as you see this because I can't guarantee there'll still be spots available for much longer. Cool? All right. Step 9, become a chatvertiser, take souls, retard max your way to the bank. And remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need a volume of good enough images that sell the click. The winners will show up in your dashboard. It's 11:30 and I got some steak to eat. So hope you found this valuable. I'll see you on the next one.